Hi, everyone. Thank you all so much for tuning into Curable's Instagram. I'm Tressa, and today I am here with longtime Curable member Umisha, who is going to share her experience healing from chronic pain with us. Umisha, thank you so much again for being here. I'm so excited to have you on.
Thank you, me too.
And I know our viewers are even more excited to hear your story. So to start things off, could you tell us a little bit about when you first began experiencing symptoms and what those symptoms were?
Yeah, so actually, I knew this question was coming about when my symptoms started, and I find it's a bit complicated for me because while I would say that I had chronic back pain for about 6 years. I also got diagnosed with endometriosis as part of that after I had an operation, which is the only way to diagnose it, but I'm not really sure how long I had that for. Um, and actually, I think I only realized my other symptoms around my stomach and GERD issues, acidity issues, and just other pains in the body. Only when I sort of started doing the mind body work, because I went back in time. But basically, for quite a few years, to the point where I actually remember now, even as a kid, I would always complain about various things like mainly stomach issues and stuff. So it's a bit of a hazy timeline. But the main thing was really the last 6 years of back pain.
So prior to the 6 years of back pain, you said you had a little bit of stomach issues as a kid, but what was your overall health like before you started experiencing this back pain and later the endo and stomach issues?
Pretty fine actually. Yeah, I would say things started to sort of go in more downward spiral about 6 or 7 years ago.
If you don't mind my asking, what was going on for you around the time of the onset of your pain?
Yeah, I think it was so before that I had quite a full life, like traveled a lot, lived in a couple of different countries. I stayed in Uganda for a while,
Oh, wow.
um, started a business, done a lot of like different past development programs. Like I was quite a full on person with who'd done a lot of things, like really super ambitious and wanted to, conquer the world sort of youth.
Yeah.
And I forgot the question actually, but I think, oh, what was going on around that time? I think
Yeah.
everything sort of caught up with me, and the stresses in the world sort of built up slowly. And then I got married, and to a wonderful husband. And then all of these, there's just like a lot more. I think it's just like part of growing up, like a lot more responsibilities, different relationships to maintain, and sort of a variety of stresses. Actually, there wasn't like one thing that happened, but it was just part of growing up and facing the world, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so yeah, you went from leading a very full, exciting life and then bam, got hit with some unexpected back pain.
Yeah, and it was
Um,
a really slow thing. Like the
oh,
back
okay.
pain sort of started. I had like a few days of it where I was just in bed and I was like, what is going on? And then it would go, and then it would come back, and then it would go. So basically, like every 2 or 3 months, I would get this. And as time went by, that time sort of reduced, or I'd have issues with GERD. So I'd have like really bad acidity symptoms. And I mean, I was like completely ill of acidity, not just like a little bit, like
Mm.
bedridden sort of thing for a few days. And the gaps between my random onsets of feeling ill just kept getting closer and closer and closer, to the point where I remember being so scared because it got to being every day. And I was like, this is actually serious now. Like, and I learned the term chronic pain, and just realizing that, oh my gosh, I have chronic pain was
Mm.
like quite scary in itself, actually. Um, yeah. So
Yeah, that's kind of a bombshell. Like, what chronic pain is such a scary word for so many people going through it to then identify with, oh my, I have chronic pain. And that's a big part of curable work to kind of separate our identity from
That's
that
right.
chronic.
Exactly. And then that's when the Googling really started, you know, realizing, or on the internet, there's very few people that get out of chronic pain. And hearing about people's stories, I would spend, quite a long time on Dr. Google trying to diagnose myself with various things. I went to like back specialists and gynecologists and all of those sort of specialty people. The GP was sort of, I just kept ringing the GP and being like, what's wrong with me? They couldn't find anything. I did MRI scans. Eventually they did find two quite large ovarian cysts, which I had to get operated on. But it was just so confusing. I don't know what was going on, but I just realized that this downward spiral was moving quite fast and very quickly affecting my like mental health. Before that, before I really acknowledged it, to be honest, I haven't actually spoken a lot about it during that whole period, even to some of my closest friends. I just presumed it was something like aging, or I don't know, like it wasn't really clear for me, and I wasn't really getting a proper diagnosis until they said you've got endometriosis, and then I hooked onto that. But it was even just like the way that I got diagnosed for that. It was like, oh yeah, and by the way, you have endometriosis. And I'm like, what is that? You go home and you start Googling it, and there's just so much fear associated. There's no cure. People, you know, you get disabled for life around it. So yeah, it was a real period of fear, no hope, and just daily activities became a struggle. Like I think I'm that character that I'd never stopped doing what I love. I never stopped socializing, but it was all with this underlining, oh my God, like what is happening to my life? Like couldn't watch a movie, I just couldn't sit. I couldn't just be in my body and feel any sense of comfort or contentness. There was always a sense of, I need to do something, I need to fix this problem, you know. And then naturally you go to the physiotherapists and the Pilates, and I went to osteopath, I did naturopath, I did homeopath. I'm quite like into like, you know, the less like Western medicines, and I wanted to try all of that. That in itself, like it was just adding so much stress to my life because I had to change my diet. I had to do all of these, like I had to improve my structure. You know, I got told that it's my structure that's causing the pain, and it's rubbing. You know, they'll use words like it's rubbing against your discs and it's crushing them. And I'm like, what? Like, what's happening? And that fear, like, okay, I'm improving my structure. Honestly, it got worse and worse and worse. So I'm going to see these specialists and getting advice that I think should help, but every time it's getting worse. So yeah. It was a real mess. And like I said, I wasn't sharing this with a lot of my friends and stuff. So or you know, I at the end of last year I started to talk to family and friends a little bit about it, but it was quite a hidden experience, I think.
Wow, yeah, it sounds like a very scary and isolating and confusing time for you.
Yeah.
I'm really, sorry to hear that you had to go through that, but we're here today now, and I want to get into how you ultimately found Curable. How did you find us first? And what was your early thoughts like when Curable and the mind body world opened up to you?
So just before that, I'll just say, like, I had a tipping point, actually. It was like in November last year. So I just had a miscarriage, which was difficult and challenging in itself. But for me, getting over the challenges of that was doable. But I feel a bit mistreated in the A&E, and some moments of feeling quite undignified and a lot of harsh treatment in my experience. And that's when I said to myself, I'm going to take this into my own matters, and I'm not going to now rely externally for my recovery to happen. And that's basically, I think I had at that point already had downloaded Curable with a Google ad, and I was like, I'll do it, but I never really did. And I started listening to your podcasts, and oh gosh, I was just literally listening to podcast after podcast, and listening to other people's recovery stories and just crying. I was just like, this is amazing. This is so beautiful that people are actually getting out of this. I just never came across that in all my research. And I was like, wow. And I think while it took me a while to actually recover with relapses in between, that hope that I got was really my shifting point. And I didn't really know what they were doing or what techniques they were using, but I knew it was possible. And even then I decided not to do it for a while. Like, I didn't want to do the exercises because I thought, this is actually my last hope. That's what I thought. And if I don't get better with this, then damn, I'm in trouble. So I avoided it because I didn't want this to be my last hope. So I think for about 3 months I just procrastinated. Then it was in the lockdown of Christmas lockdown. We had a Christmas lockdown, and I had 10 days of nothing. I didn't do, like, Christmas cancelled, blah, blah. And then I was just like, all right, I'm just going to do it. And then I did it. And in those 10 days, all of my pain went away. I did the exercises, just the ones that I felt like doing, whenever I felt like doing it. And I didn't have any pain, any issues in my body. And I sat there, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I'm really comfortable in my own skin. And that was my first sort of experience of healing. And I thought, wow, this is possible now. Yeah, it was such a nice moment, and one that now I experience on a daily basis. Yeah, like, it's quite emotional just to say, actually, but even now I would, I wake up with that gratitude that I still very much remember that pain and discomfort in the body, and knowing that I don't really have to have that is such a big gift in life, really. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, it was your own strength and courage that got you to take hold of your own health and hold yourself accountable to healing and understand that you are in control. And that is something so big, and you deserve a huge pat on the back for that. And I feel your emotions through the camera right now. And I want to know a little bit more about what it's like for you today, looking back on the times when you may have thought that healing wasn't possible.
Yeah.
How has your outlook changed?
Yeah, like, yes, my outlook has changed in relationship to my body, pain, what it now signifies and what it's telling me to do. It's not telling me to do, but as in, like, how do I say, like, I think the experience is not so much what do I need to do, it's how do I need to shift my way of being to honor, like, what the body is trying to tell us. And it's such a, like, it's like I'm still learning so much, and there's still some symptoms that I'm going to continue working on, and I still get relapses on occasion when things are just too much. But now I've got, like, techniques to help me. And by the way, before I used to meditate a lot. I was doing yoga, and in Curable, there's breathing exercises, there's mindfulness, there's meditation, and it's actually not dissimilar about what I was learning before, but it's around the sense of chronic pain and how to actually apply it, and also what being to bring to it. So when I'm meditating now, or, it's not with that intensity of I need to get somewhere, I need to do this perfectly. And these were the things, or I'm doing it for people pleasing, or I don't know, whatever the other things are when you take care of yourself. I have to do this all perfectly. And it's this mentality, that shift in mentality, that I believe is part of my recovery. And also, like, the thing around like positive sensations and somatic tracking, the techniques are there now. So when I do experience these things, it's like I ask myself, I don't ask myself what's wrong with my body now. It's not about that. It's like, there's nothing wrong with my body, and I'm just, how can I say that? It's like, how do I deal with my stresses better?
Yeah. Wow, that's such powerful stuff. Like changing the mindset of what do I need to do to how do I need to be is really powerful. So
yeah, it is. It's like a life-changing thing.
there it is.
And the bonus is that I don't have to experience chronic pain. It's not the other way around. So
That's a huge bonus. So what's your life like now? Now that you have this toolkit that you can always lean back on, because you mentioned, and us at Curable, we mention all the time that setbacks are part of the journey. And so now in your daily life, if you do experience a setback, what's your mentality like? And what's your overall life like now?
Yeah, I mean, like, I want to say, like, I never stress about anything anymore. And when I get a back pain or little, like the other day, I was having a lot of like issues with my leg, and that was a chronic thing at some point. Like, it just went on for months and months. But I still experience fear of those symptoms, because it's a kind of like a personality thing. I think, like, I'm a bit prone to that. And well, a lot of people are. And but yeah, I think a bit like what I said before, it's like the questions I'll now ask myself is, what's going on in my life that might be causing my nervous system to stress out right now? And how can I calm the nervous system down? Yeah. And I think the pressure's off. I think I've taken a lot of pressure off my life now. It's ironically, I actually do less. Before I was like, run the marathon and start this business and do this and do that. And I'm like, nah, and actually a lot of recovery stories, it is the opposite. They're like, wow, now I can finally, run these runs. And I'm like, it's like the opposite. It's like, yeah, it's okay. Like, I'm really fine the way I am. And yeah, so almost like I'm at that stage where I'm like pulling back. Let's see what happens later on when I'm more attuned to this. So the other thing that has been a big shift in my life is that one thing that I'm doing at the moment is interviewing other people with like recovery stories and making short films. At Mind Body Medicine Info, they asked me to make a few like short stories and short docs around that. And it was funny because when I got asked, I was like, I don't know, because I'm not really healed yet, and I've still got these issues, and I'm kind of learning about it, but not quite yet. And then editing the interviews, you're hearing it again and again, or nervous system, hearing like, you're brainwashing yourself actually in these techniques and in the pain science. And that actually, after I finished editing the first film, I felt like I've understood this, and something actually shifted in my body. So that's been a really lovely thing to be doing. Yeah, they're called living proof, Mind Body Medicine Info. So that's a lovely thing to be involved with. Like, it's changed my life hearing other people's stories, and I'm really grateful that I can help other people's stories be shared as well. Really important.
Yeah, very interesting. I'm eager to check that out.
Yeah.
Umisha, thank you again so much for coming on here and just being so open and raw with us about your recovery. We're about out of time, but before we go, I just want to ask you if you have any closing thoughts that you'd like to share.
Yeah, I think it's just like however, which way people are on their healing journey, it's yeah, doing without the pressure that there's a timeline or that there's a right way of doing this. I think is really a big part for me. So yeah, I'm just so happy that so many people are benefiting from this. It's amazing. I'm very grateful.
Awesome. Well, we're very grateful for you for coming on today. Thank you again. I know I've said it a million times, but thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, to everyone at home watching, thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any feedback for the Curable team, or if you just like to show Umisha some love and gratitude for coming on here today and opening up to us, feel free to leave all that in the comments. We'd love to hear it. Umisha, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.